Hello people, this is Ryder here to review the Kamen Saber DX TVKun Wonder Ride book. Yep, you heard that right. A TVKun item being a DX item and not a DVD pack-in? Yep. So for the first time for a magazine pack-in, we actually do get a DX item. Now this is obviously not that big of a deal because obviously there have been DX-esque items within TVKun. However, this is actually a big deal for these kinds of gimmicks because this actually means this actually has sounds. So obviously here we have the TVKun Wonder Ride book like so, and because it is DX, it does actually have the story page. Here we have Saber, Dragon, TVKun. These sides like so. Then we got the top with Toma with Sword X-Man? Or is that the TVKun issue of it? Yeah, so the back tells you that it does supply batteries and that you just need to pull the tab and such, and it tells you how to play with it. Yeah. So here you have the Wonder Ride book out of the box. As you can see from the body, this is definitely a new color scheme, as the cover page is now white, while the rest of it's red, which is really interesting and such. And what's really neat about this one is that it's really faithful to like the in-show version of TVKun, as it's entirely in Wonder text. So we got Hero and then TVKun and such. Obviously we have Sword X-Man, his arch nemesis, and a bunch of other TVKun characters that are from the comic and such. And then opening the Wonder Ride book up for the Wonder text on the side, which pretty sure remains the same. And obviously in traditional, here we are with the traditional story page that we've never had in a while. Again, TVKun, I think this is supposed to just be Ken, because it's just a Y. And then the QR code for Gamba Rising. And then the transformation page, again, pretty standard for the most part, but I really do like it. We got the heroes of TVKun and plus the arm and such. It's just really cool overall, just to actually have a magazine pack and be like a full-on DX item. Speaking of DXness, so obviously we have our two annual sounds, so the book activation. And the story announcement. Really interesting sounds that they chose for TVKun. And also I find it really interesting that all of these just depict the arm and such. But anyways, let's use this within this readable sequence. So, we're using Rekka despite the fact this is explicitly a story slot book. However, this is how it was done within the Hyper Battle video, so we're gonna follow that. And plus, this is one of the very few canon times where we'll actually see the writer use a singular Wonder Ride book in a slot that's not designated for them. No. I have issues with this book just because it's not the book's fault. It's because my sword driver is broken, but it's just because of how very new this one is. I have to hold this one down for it to open. So there we have a new jingle, Comic Ryder, and this one is in yellow, which is pretty neat. Then the Wonder Attack. And then for canon reasons, Saber does use this with Brave Dragon. However, the Wonder Combo, obviously to actually allow this thing to do its sound, he does it by itself, and then Brave Dragon shows up. So this is technically this is supposed to be the combo you're supposed to do, Dragon TVKun. We won't show the Wonder Combo, but we will do the attacks in Dragon TVKun. And I did say attacks. And the Jutoku Sansen. Obviously, though, that's pretty standard. We will skip the transformation because obviously the only important thing is the name. Obviously, manga. I don't know why it's doing that. The Kurayami. Obviously, just like the other, like Old Story Writer, Santara Writer, World Story Writer, we just get Jakudoa, and so obviously we just get Jaku comic. But yeah, that's basically it for this Wonder Ride book. Overall, it's a pretty standard DX Wonder Ride book. However, just the fact that, first of all, it's a canon Wonder Ride book and such, and I do think Dragon TVKun is actually a pretty neat form overall. It's probably one of the more fun Hyper Battle forms that we've seen because it's not a kangaroo. So it's probably my favorite out of Reiwa so far because I don't think Geats is doing a Hyper Battle video until the second half, or until the tail end of the series. But just the fact that they actually did do this book is neat overall. Just the fact they finally did a pure DX item as a magazine pack-in. Like, yes, again, like I said before, they have done pure DX items, but that's because they don't have sounds, and that they're small enough that they can just pack them in, that they don't have to sacrifice anything. But this is a big deal because this is exactly what, again, the Decade book could have been. The Neo Decade book. And I also forgot to mention this. This was included within a Super TVKun issue. Not a TVKun issue. I think it was a July issue or so, but basically because of the fact this is a DX item that's a magazine pack-in, this thing's extremely difficult. This thing is on par with the the Blade and Kabuto books are just, they're just not easy to find. I would have liked to have liked to get the magazine. Gosh, I would have liked to have gotten the magazine with this, but obviously, for some reason, no one's packing this thing, or no one's even selling the magazine. Because obviously, this thing by itself, I think used to sell for like $30. Luckily, I eventually got mine for $15 or $12 off of Mandarake, which I was surprised at. No, I think I got it for $10 because I think it said it was used, but it was new. But that's what I will say. I recommend for you to get this for like between $10 to $15. It's pretty worth it for that. And for something extra within the demo, I actually do demonstrate the Nisatsu and the Sansatsu combos or jingles for Comic Rider. Because sadly, this is one of the very few. I think this is the only combo where we don't actually get 2 more books for it. They only give us the one, and basically, again, to do this trick, you need to be really quick about it. You just need to hold this down, and then simply hold like something like that. You just need to do something like that, but make sure it actually does read through and such. But yeah, other than that, I finally have covered I'm really glad that I finally did. I finally got to conclude a big area of Saber that was missing for like 2 years or a year. 2 years. But we finally did it, and I wanted to throw this in at the tail end of this current round of Saber. Honestly, just because I didn't want to hold this one off, and luckily, the way I arranged these videos, I was able to actually get this, or throw this one in. So, now I have to put all my Saber stuff away, but I'll probably do that whenever I wake up, because, right, it's... that. So, now I have to do this review. This is Ryder, people. Bye.